everyone. Welcome to Coffee DBG. So, how many of you are for Coffee DBG for the first time? First week. Okay. So I think it will be better if somebody who had attended Coffee DBG and tell something about what it is. You can just tell what actually Coffee DBG.
Hi, I'm Harino Vishal from Experience, and this is the third time that I'm coming to Corporate DBG. And the last time it was on configuration management and okay. And the first time I walked in, and what struck me most was the cool cashless portal that we had here. And it was really a good experience, and the presentations were all nice. So it was very informal kind of. Really, the word of the copy at DBG really means what it's all about.
I think Ken is saying something.
What is copy? You just need to tell the new people what is copy.
Well, in techno it's boring than most of them. So you come and enjoy the course and with the technology, everything. So in 1 month, you will, I'm sure you will be enjoying this coffee and DBG very much. Of course, thanks to you.
Okay.
And the specialty of this time is for the first time, Coffee DBG is also going live. So let's start. So normally the first session is named as Tech Bites. So on Tech Bites, we just discuss about some latest happening that happened last month. And I would like to welcome Mr. Atila for that. Hello.
Hi, good evening to everyone. Myself, Atila Roy. I am working as a software engineer in DBG. Today, I would like to discuss about the latest technology happenings from the last month. Okay. So these are the topics that we are going to cover. First one, OS X Mavericks, then Apple's iPad Air, then Google Glass, next Nexus 5, then PHP.NET compromise, and the last one, Mozilla's location service. So OS X Mavericks. OS X Mavericks is the latest Mac OS from Apple, and the specialty of this OS is it's free and good performance and energy efficient. So these are the features. The first one, map. We have used Google Map. There you can upload the route between two locations. But in Mac OS X Mavericks, in addition to that, we can send the route to iPhones and iPads. Then next one, iCloud keychain. Using iCloud keychain, we can generate a unique and hard to guess password. So we can store it into the iCloud keychain and also the credit card information. And it can be synced with other Apple devices like iPhone, iPad, etc. Then next one, notification. So if you guys have used the Mac OS X Live, then you have seen this notification feature in it. But in addition to that, here in Mavericks, the notifications are interactive. That means you can reply from right there without opening the applications. Then next one, Finder tabs. So on Google Chrome, you have seen that by pressing Ctrl+T, we could get a new tab. So here also this feature is there. By pressing the Command key plus P, a new tab can be opened. Then next one, iBooks. The iBook of Mac have all the books that you have downloaded from iPod, iPad, like Apple devices. And the last one, tax. Okay. So let me tell you one example. If you have sports files and folders and different locations on your Mac, and you have to organize or you have to bring them together, then you can create a new tag. Let be the name sports. Then if you have that sports tag name, then the next time if you want to access that files, just type sports in the search area. Okay, next one, the latest iPad from Apple. It's iPad Air and it was released on November 1st, 2013. In iPad Air, it has the latest iOS 7 as operating system, then a 64-bit A7 processor and M7 co-processor. And it has ultra-fast Wi-Fi and 10 hours battery life. Then the next one, Google Glass. You may have heard about Google Glass, but Google has launched the Google Glass on online store now. Next one, Nexus 5. So Nexus 5 released on October 31st, 2013 is the first phone which has the latest Android operating system, that is Android 4.4 KitKat. Then its hardware partner is LG. It's very slim and fast with a 4.95-inch full HD display. Then it has a dual band Wi-Fi and wireless charging facility. Then PHP.NET compromise. This PHP.NET site have been compromised due to the alteration in the JavaScript coding, and Google flagged it as distributing malware. Then the last one, that is Mozilla's location service.
Nathan, he will be explaining to you the introduction to continuous integration. Thanks.
Good afternoon. I'm going to take a brief discussion about continuous integration.
continuous product is testable. That we have to design it that way that the developer code is highly testable. And actually, the once integration, it's not like it. Here we have a small set of class or changes. We program it, we test it, we integrate it to the live server. And then the testing and development phase come closer and it will be fastly available. So what are the disadvantages of continuous integration system? Actually, this is not much of disadvantages. We have an actual set of plan. We go to plan, design the system so that it is highly testable and actually well development test suite is required because we are using a lot of automated tests over here. So that type of software requirements is also there. These are some of the continuous integration tools widely available. They have tools converts, Bamboo, Jenkins, Apache Dumps, Apache Container, CodeSheet, Tinderbox, KV, etc. So I will invite Mr. Raja to have the next section about Jenkins.
Hi. Let's discuss a basic introduction to Jenkins. Jenkins is an open source leading CI server written in Java and can be used to configure Python, Ruby, or anything, including Objective-C. It is a fork of Hudson. You can read about that detail about in this lecture. And Jenkins is used by world's biggest software products like Apache. Apache's live Jenkins server can be viewed from here. It's now running Apache Jenkins server. These are the builds going on now, and these are the last build status and build name, last successful build time, and last failure, last duration of the build, etc. And we can use the console, build console from here itself. This is an example, and here around hundreds of builds running, and here we can view the build queue. These are the build we run soon when a slave or master is available for the build. We can also monitor the disk usage and everything from these pages. Jenkins is supported by vast variety of code source management tools. Source code management tools like CDS, Subversion, Git, Mercurial, Propose, Reference, and RDC. Also, Jenkins can execute many build tools like Apache and Apache Maven, and which can also execute shell scripts and even Windows bash commands. And this Jenkins builds can be triggered by SVN commit or git push, or can we can schedule the build whenever we want. We can schedule the build to run the time, or we can build using an API. API is an URL. We can call a URL to build the job. Normally, we'll put a hook something like that to build and call the API and to build the job. And that part will be discussed by soon. Or we can also run builds build manually by clicking this build now button. You can also trigger the installation. Installation is quite simple in Linux-based Linux distros, and in DBG Linux distros which can be installed from applicator hub, and in the full command is here. In later version of DBG distros, you can just run this install this install so that can install command or from the Ubuntu Software Center. In Fedora-based distros, we can install it from here. Install. We can also install it in Windows. Jenkins can be run as a Windows service, which require Microsoft.NET framework, and it can be installed. First, to install, you have to start the Jenkins server. First, start Jenkins server using this command java manager jenkins.org. Then you will run a service. We can access it by going to localhost 8080. Then on clicking the manage Jenkins link, we can see this install as a Windows service button. On clicking this, it will redirect the installation page where we can provide with the directory to install, and just clicking the install button, it will install, and it will ask for a restart. And Jenkins also can be configured many other ways in Windows. That's quite a bit lengthy, so you can operate from this. Configuration. On first installation, Jenkins will be insecure. That means anybody can run a build, or anybody can view what are going on in the backend. So we have to secure it. For securing, normally on going to the manage Jenkins page, you will show a message like this setup security. On clicking this button, It will redirect to the managing this page here. Just again show it here. On clicking managing this page, here we can here this on clicking this button enable security. It will list options. It will depend upon the modules we have installed in here. We can install any ways like GitHub on the resistance ledger or even LDAP security that server. Here we using Jenkins on database and allow user to sign up and using the metric security. On clicking the metric security, we can configure which group can do what and what cannot do in here. Normally, anonymous user only have the view read option for anonymous user, and we can configure many user groups according to our use and our projects. Okay, that's what that's fine. And on enabling the security, it will give a sign up page to access Jenkins. Then we have to sign up to this page. Then adding a job. Then we have to run a job. We have to create that job first. For that, on clicking this new job button here, on clicking this new job button, it will list options, and we can provide their names. And normally I'm going to take on only the freestyle method. Okay, this is how it will look when a job is created in freestyle mode. Here we can configure what to do with this job. Let's take an example. We can configure this parameterized build and okay. I wanted a set to execute SL and to get the type of this server. And after this, on running the build, it will run the update command on the server and display in here. And we can see what happened here in the server. Say, it's run the update and display the type. Okay. Like this, we can configure Jenkins any way we want, but we can. There are a lot of plugins available in the Jenkins. We can discuss it. It's a bit more. So we have to learn what what's simple actually. Okay, to schedule a job, just click the configure and to build periodically button. Here we can provide the channel-like contact syntax. So providing like this char char char, like the syntax, the syntax of the contract, and family like that to schedule it out. And plugins. And there are many plugins available in the Jenkins. Go to the manage Jenkins page. On clicking the manage plugins button, you will list the plugins. Now updates are available, but you can get the all available plugins here. Actually, we can do everything with these plugins, including deployment, Jenkins activity, if deploy anything. And last number of plugins available. I'll show you how to install. Just click the plugins and install without restart or with restart. You will run in the background, install it. After install, this will show the success message. And we can also install it by hand. On going to this link, download link for plugins. We can download it, the .spi or .jpg file, and we can put it in the home directory of the Jenkins plugins directory, and just restart the Jenkins server. You will automatically get the plugins restart. Now we have a small feedback.
Thanks, Raja. So now we'll have a small tea break. We will have a coffee break. Right? So have some coffee and then some biscuits, and then we'll be back another session. Right?
So otherwise we plan to this coffee break just because we want people to associate. So previously there was a complaint just like people are not able to network because by end of the event everyone will be in a hurry to move. So it is just also able for making friends. So everybody, each of you are from different companies, so you can interact. Yeah.
Coffee DBG. Hi. Coffee DBG your short break.
Hello? Oh, we can continue the program. So, in the meantime, I would like to introduce Mr. Ravi Naushad. He attended Copy DBG last time and he just thought of building an app that is free for everyone to keep the updates in technology. So,
Actually, my name is Ravi Naushad. I have been a freelance Android developer for the past 2 years. I have made about 70 applications right now, and my latest app is called Technoblock Times. It's completely free without any sort of advertisements. And, what that does is it has it added to good job opportunities within Technoblock, and also put the events, the news happenings within the Technoblock, and also about any tech-related event within the city. It has notifications, which is completely customizable, and it also has an offline database of all companies in Technoblock, complete with the contact information. And the app is available on Google Play Store starting today. So if you have an Android phone, please try the application. And
So what's the name of the application?
the name of the application is Technoblock Times.
Technoblock Times.
Times. It's available on Play Store. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rina. This session is on continuous integration with Jenkins and Git. So we had a session where we discussed about what is continuous integration. We got an idea about what it is and how, what are the main factors which are required in continuous integration. And then we had another session about Jenkins, in which we saw how you can install Jenkins, how you can configure Jenkins, what are the different plugins available, how to configure them, etc., and what it can be used for. So now we have an idea about what CI is and what Jenkins is. Now the fact about Jenkins is you can use Jenkins for almost anything. There are lots and lots of plugins available, so you can have Git or any other source code management system. Say you have Purpose, you have ClearCase, you have SVM, CVS, whatever it is, you can have it clubbed with your Jenkins and do the integration stuff, right? In this session, what we will do is we will discuss this with pertaining to Git, because everything is not possible. Right? So we will stick to Git and Jenkins, and we'll see how CI is done. The first question about CI is, if we do something with Jenkins, will that be continuous integration? Answer is no. That's not what continuous integration is. Jenkins is only a tool which is used for continuous integration, right? So what is CI? Continuous integration is a process. What process? It is a mix of lots and lots of steps, good practices in software engineering which can be done, which will help you make your code better, make your project easier. So that's what CI is. And it's not required that you should have Jenkins. You can have other tools, right? But you can do it without Jenkins. You can do it without, you can write a small shell script and do everything with it. It's also possible. So it's more of a process than a tool, right? And every time, the CI is, what the CI does is every time there is a change in your code, there's a modification in your code, we do some checks and make sure it doesn't lead to more problems, right? So that's what the main thing about CI is. And another thing is, this is done continuously, this is done frequently, very often. How often? We'll discuss that in the coming slides. And usually this is not done on your machine. It doesn't mean you cannot do it, you can do it. You can install it in Jenkins and your machine and do things. But normally CI is done on another server other than the normal development server. Okay. So this is what continuous integration is. And any tool which is responsible for doing this is a continuous integration tool, like Jenkins, Hudson, Cruise Control. There are lots and lots of tools available for this purpose. And we hear about a term called build. So what is a build? With this tool, we do some checks. We do some verifications. There are lots of tests which can be done. There are lots of things can be done with this. That is called as a build. So once you have a build, what is the output of it? What will you have? One of them is document generation. There are lots of things available. So what is document generation? Say you're working on a project. In the Agile project, documentations usually are not much. You don't have a lot of documentations available. But when you work on projects, you need documentations. Because every time you're working on a project and then someone else comes in, he's new to the team. And you lose a lot of time trying to explain to him what this is. A lot of time is lost like that. But if you have a documentation, you can give it to him, you can point him to that, and he can verify it, he can start working on it with the documentation. But creating that is a pain. In order to do that, we have tools available. PHP documentation tools are available. Java documentation tools are available. And you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is run the Jenkins and will take care of it. Right? So you configure Jenkins to run all those tools. Another option is unit test. Unit testing is a very important thing which is present in the agile current agile way of working projects. So why do you need unit test? Unit test gives you lose a lot of time trying to create unit tests, right? So why do we really need this unit testing? You write a code, you write a test. You change the code, you change the test. It always faster, isn't it? That's how it works. So why do we need this sort of unit testing? You're losing the time. Because that's not the way to do it. The real way to do is to write the test first and then write the code. So you change the code, you make sure the test will passes. The advantage is if you have a manager or if you have a team lead, he's trying to merge someone else's code. There are two people working, and then his code I am about to pull and merge. But how do I know that code is safe to merge? How do I know he has done everything properly? How do I know whatever he's done doesn't have syntax errors or other not syntax errors? It's logically right. So what I do is I tell them every time you do something, show me an output saying that all the unit test has passed. So now I know, alright, that's working fine. And now I can merge the code. That's the whole point of unit testing. It gives it a lot of confidence. The main point is you should write the test first and then the code. It doesn't mean you're changing the code, you should change the test as well. That's not the right way to do it. Write the code. There's a good tutorial available for this in Eclipse and test driven development in YouTube if you're interested in that. So that's about unit test. You can do it. Yeah. Sure, no problem. Yes.
So does that mean that this is fully automatic? Like the next documentation page, whatever you think?
No. Let's define what documentation is. We have different documentations. If you're a VA, there's a sort of documentation. Your developer, there's another sort of documentation. There are different documentations available. There's a VRS, an SRS, there are lots of documentations. No, that's not what we're talking about. There are ways to automate that. That comes in behavior PDD. That comes in, you're taking the acceptance test, and then you create a unit. That comes in another session called behavior driven development, where you use another language and we had Cucumber and other use for it. But here what we talk about is, say you have a code, and every time you write a code, you write comments over there. You have a function, you write a comment. You have an API, you write a comment. What parameters are passed into it? So you write a comment in a particular way so that say I have a tool, I run the tool, it scans the entire code, it checks for that particular regex, and fetch it, and get a nice niche documentation for me. Right? That's the sort of documentation you're talking about here. Okay? Sort of a developer helpful documentation. Right. Third one is quality analysis on source code. What is this quality analysis on source code? Source code is there, we are writing it. What possible quality analysis can you do on the source code? Because we are already doing the unit testing. So what more can be done? Code reviews is one option, yes. But that's not exactly what we're talking about here. What more quality can be done? Quality checks. Static analysis. So what is static analysis? Every time we write a code, we say you should have a coding standard for it. What is this coding standard? How do we know the people write code in a proper coding standard? Sorry for that? Right. How do we know that? So what we do is we have a lot of static analysis tools for this. Java has lots of tools, PHP has lots of tools. All we need to do is we take those tools and we run them. When do we run them? We run them and the source code every time the developer finishes working on it. See, it happens, you can always have these stuff installed on your IDEs, that's possible. But even if you don't do that, you can have this checks done on your server. And that way, every time you push a code, what the server does, it will check all the things. What does it check? It can check for your syntax errors. It can check for your coding standards. Say for example, one of the coding standards says that every time you're writing a code, you should have 4 spaces. But it can so happen that you have added a tab. That's a problem. That the way you name your classes, the way you name your functions, parameters. So there are lots of things which can go wrong when you're creating a project, because maintainability wise, code quality is very important, right? So all those static analysis, do we have dead code over there? There are chances when you write something, that function is never used. Or when there's already a module out there and someone else comes to fix a bug. Instead of reusing the module, he starts writing the code again. He starts copy pasting it again. So these are copy paste of extra code. Do we have a duplicated code? All those comes in this quality analysis. There's something else called as cyclomatic redundancy. It's about how complex you write the code. So how do you know that you have a big piece of code? How do you know if you should actually refactor it? How do you know if you should split it down to different functions, different classes? All those task analysis can be done. We'll check it out there. And then another one is the delivery generation. How do you deliver your code? That can also be automated with Jenkins. Say you're working on a Java project and you need a WAR file, or the building stuff, which you do normally with Ant, or you need to create an image, you need to create a tar, an archive, you need to create an XML, you need to create any sort of file. That can be done with the help of Jenkins. So these are all part of Jenkins continuous integration. So CI doesn't actually mean just integrating the code. No, it's a software practices. I can do this even without using Jenkins. Right? So it's sort of a process more than a tool, CI. Assuming we are going to do CI with Jenkins, how do we do this? See, CI, continuous integration with Jenkins, is used by a lot of companies including GitHub, NASA, Facebook, a lot of other companies, including Digital Brand Group. We also use Jenkins here at work. So what we are discussing here today is what we are doing here. So that's what we are discussing here. All the quality checks which we say, all the feature sites. This is actually the process which we have here as of now. So imagine you are going to start implementing CI in your home for a project, in your project which you're going to work in. How would you go about doing it? Now we know what CI, we know what Jenkins. We'll see what are the steps involved in. What would be the first step? Install Jenkins, right? We discussed this already. What's the easiest way to do this? To do apt install Jenkins and it gets installed. So simple. Another way, let's go to the software center, type Jenkins, one click, and it gets installed. You can do this in your Windows, your lab, your Mac, your any machines, which that Raja had discussed as well. So that's why we install Jenkins. So now you have Jenkins installed in your system. Right? It gets installed at the 8080 port. We can configure that as well. The next part is installing the Git plugin. See, there's a big advantage which comes with Jenkins. The biggest advantage with Jenkins is the plugins which come along with it. There are a lot of plugins available. You can actually write your own plugin and contribute it to them. That's an open source community. You're working on something and you feel that this is something which can be used for Jenkins, add a plugin, and it's not that difficult as either. So, if you're using Git, we need a plugin. That's called a Git plugin. Now, how do you install it? You go to Jenkins, click Manage Jenkins, Manage Plugins, then Advanced, install this. There's a lot of lists which shows up here, and this one is what we are interested in. You install that, you restart the Jenkins, and you're ready. So now you have your Jenkins, you have the Git plugin, you're ready with that. This is what happens when you're trying to install a plugin. These are all the pending tasks which are available. Right. Right. See, these are all the tasks which are pending when you're trying to install this plugin. And one by one it gets executed. And once that's completed, they'll tell you, okay, this is what the status is. It's success, there's something else that's written over there. And your complete plugin installation is completed. Now you have it with you, right? Third step is configuring an SSH key pair. So there's a question here. How many of you know what is an SSH key pair? How do you configure it? Does anyone know about an SSH key pair? Yes, some of them does. See the way, what is an SSH? See, there are different ways of getting into a, you have a file with you, and you need to move this file to somewhere else. Now how would you move it? We copy paste it. That's one way of doing it. Another way is using SCP. There's FTP. There are all different protocols. The difference is in FTP you are actually transferring that's only for file transfer. In FTP you are taking the file, you are putting it over there. You are traveling in clear text. That means the data which travels from here to the other server is not encrypted. Anyone can go and read it. So that's not safe. So you have SFTP, FTP, ES, other versions. Another protocol is SSH. Now, SSH helps you get into a machine, and then you can use an SCP, a secured copy, right? So, what SSH, SCP, SFTP, they all have an S in the beginning, secured something. So what it does is, they have a file, it's called a key, and that you are given access only if that key is present in their server. Say for example, you already have Jenkins installed in your server, but you need to access a Git repo which is somewhere else, which means Jenkins has to access that Git repo. Git repo should give access to this Jenkins, right? So you need a file of Jenkins. I'm not calling it a file, I'm calling it as a key. You need a key, it's called a .pub, public key. You need the public key of the Jenkins installed into the Git repo, wherever it is. And only then, you know if you work on GitHub, Bitbucket, etc. You're adding SSH keys to the Bitbucket, right? So you should know this. So what you do, you're logging there, and then you SSH there and you get it. You change the user to Jenkins. See, this is how you're changing the user. Initially you will be another user, and then you change the Jenkins. And once you change the Jenkins, you're creating an SSH directory. This dot means it's a hidden folder. You can't see it initially, it's a hidden folder. Inside that folder, you will have different files. One of them will be called id_rsa, another one will be called id_rsa.pub. It's that public ID file which we are interested in. You take it, you log into the Git repo, you put it there. So now you have configured the public key of the Jenkins to be accessed, to access Git repo. Is that clear? Right? Okay. And then once you have that, you create a username and a password. You create a username and an email for the Jenkins user. So everyone who uses Git will know that every time you push something, you commit something, you are recording something. What are you recording? You are recording your name, you are recording what is Git recording? Git is recording your name and your email for every commit. And so that's what we are configuring here. You're configuring saying that this is the email ID and this is the name of the user, right? And then you try to connect, you will fail. Because you need to connect with the terminal once. See, every time you try to SSH to a server, you will get a question asked, do you want to continue? or do you want to add this key? And you need to type a yes. But the next time you connect, it will not be asked. So it's because of that this will fail first. So initially, you need to connect once, and it will be asked, are you sure you want to connect? Say yes, and everything is configured. What happens is, when you say yes here, this will take the file and save it. This will take the fingerprint of the server, Git repo, and save it in your another folder called node host. Saying that, okay, I know that host, and it is safe to connect. And once you do that, everything is okay, you can connect properly after that. Okay. The next part is creating a job in Jenkins. As I already discussed this, how do you create a job? You go to Jenkins, add a new job, you can configure it. It's quite simple in there. So it's this part which we are interested in. This is a Jenkins, but this part doesn't normally shows up. It doesn't show up normally. This will be seen only if you install the Git plugin which we told earlier. Right? So that's where the plugin works. Every time you install a plugin, something else shows up there where you can configure. Okay. So what do we need to provide here? We need to provide a repository URL. What is a repository URL? That is the repo of the Git where you're working in. You have a remote repo, you provide the URL here, and then the credentials, which branch do you need to build? And you provide all the details and the configurations is complete. And then once you're done with this, you save the job, you kick off a build once to see if it's working okay. And then comes a post receive hook. This is a very important concept in Git. And this is one of the most important things based on which the entire continuous integration happens. And that is called the post receive hook. So what is a hook? What is a post receive hook? See, every time you commit something and you push something to the server knows, alright, a push is coming in. And we write a code saying that every time you push something, something else should happen. So that is called a post receive hook. So every time you push something, something else will happen. That part is the post receive. Okay? And you can do it. It's quite simple. Maybe it's supposed to show here. Okay. That's an image of a GitHub. If you go to GitHub, and you can see that there's a lot of options available on the left side where you see web URL being the first one. You click web URL, it will tell you what URL you need to add, and then it will show a small box in the end saying, this is what I'm talking about. See, you click web URL, web hook URL, and then it will ask you to provide the details here. And it says this is a post receive hook. So every time you push something, this thing will be executed. Now what should happen, that's entirely up to you. What should happen. Okay? So yes, so this is the configuration part for the CI with Jenkins. Now you have the Jenkins, you have the CI, you have the Jenkins, you have the Git plugin, you have configured it to work together, you have given the proper access, and you have also written the hook for it. Okay. Now we'll see how this actually happens in the normal working flow of a real project. Now last time we discussed about the Git flow workflow which we had. This is a Git flow workflow. So with Git you have different workflows. You can configure different workflows for it. This is one of the very famous workflows. It's called the Git flow workflow. So we always have a master and a developer branch. We discussed this last time. Master will always have the live ready code. It's a production ready code. Developer will always have the most stable code. If you want to give something for testing, it's a developer branch which will pull and provide for the testing service. Okay. There's a feature branch where this feature, every feature you work on, developers, you need to work on a feature, create a new feature branch, work on it. Every developer will work on a different feature branch. And all that will be pushed up to the remote servers. So the team lead always have the flexibility to decide which of these should be merged. Say you have a release tomorrow, and you need 3 of these bugs to go tomorrow, and another 10 of them to go next Tuesday. He can actually decide, he can pick all those 10 bugs, merge it together, and create a release. So that sort of flexibility this flow provides. Every time you have a bug fix, you create a bug fix branch. You have a hot fix. Hot fix is an issue which happens on the live servers. You have a priority issue, P1 issue. On the live, you create a hot fix branch and you fix it. and release code has release branch has a release ready code. We discussed this in our last session. This is an example of how it works. See, master is always there, and that is a production ready code. And then you have the develop, and that's also always there. So these two are infinite lifetime branches. It's always out there. You don't delete it ever. And then what happens? All of a sudden there is a big problem in live servers and saying that like email is not coming, email doesn't work for me. Now what do? You create a new branch for the master because master has a live code. You create that's called a hotfix branch. You fix it and you give it back to the master. This also comes to develop because if you don't push this to develop, you merge it with the develop. If you don't merge it with the develop, next time this develop goes live, this issue will be recreated, right? So this is a develop branch. In this develop branch, people are working on features. This and this, there are two features. So two developers are working on those feature branches. There's a lot of commit which happens. This is a commit. This is another commit. This is another commit. This is another commit. The different commits happen in different stages, and then all of these will go back to the same develop branch. So it goes back to the develop branch, and then from there, a release branch is created, and this goes live. And this is also merged to develop because chances when you have the release branch, some bug fix might happen there. The last minute changes. So that needs to come back to your develop branch. So this is a normal workflow in a Git workflow, right? What is the advantage of this? This is what we're looking at now. Now, how do you configure Jenkins to work with this? So what you've done is every time a dev works on a feature branch and he pushes it to the servers, the server sends a remote repo, it triggers some sort of scripts over there. Jenkins will do that. It will take care of all of this. So what happens there? That is when we take care of all the quality checks. So as we said earlier, every time the developer pushes the code, we know that that code will run all the code sniffer, the PMD, the net code injector, duplicate code injector, all those things over there. So when we start doing this for all the developers, eventually every code which comes out will be a clean code because every developer has its system on the server, right? So automatically, in a small period of time, code starts changing to have a proper, and you can actually configure what code rule should be provided. You can have different rules provided. What code standards should be adopted. All those can be decided. It's a simple XML file which you can provide, right? And the advantage of using this is you can run this at any point of time. You can run it a day, night, any time, and every time you have a build failure, you will get an email. Or you can configure it to create a ticket raised to manage or some other bug track. So it's all trackable. You have a failure, you know that okay, this doesn't work. Developer gets a message or he gets a ticket assigned saying that these are the bugs, you might want to fix them, right? And this happens on feature branch. This is all automatic. It's all automated, right? Another slide as well. So this is an example of what tools can be run. See, there's a code sniffer. The code sniffer will tokenize and check for all the code related standards. There's a lot of other tools available. There's a BMD sort of a static analysis tool. Unit testing can be done there. These are examples. This has lots of tools in it. JDPen for Java things. There's lots of other stuff available. So the point is, what tools should be run depends on your project actually. If you don't want to run every tool, don't run it. It depends on your project. Say you cannot have everything run on it, right? So that's entirely up to you to configure what tools. So what do we provide this? We provide all this in the Postgres book. So you push it, these are all executed, and you get a result. In case of failure, you are notified, right? I haven't mentioned documentation still, have I? The documentation is also there. You can have documentation also created. There's lots of tools available. If you check the site called php.templates, it's all available over there. This is the second part. So now we talked about three branches. One is a feature branch, another is a develop, another one is a master. So feature, every time you push something, code quality stuff starts triggered. So what happens when you are pushing the development branch? Every time you push a develop branch, so what is a develop? It all comes from the concept of what a development branch is and why should they have it. Development branch stands for the latest stable developmental code. So once you push the code to develop, remote develop, that is automatically sent to the staging server. Say you have a testing server, it gets sent there, it gets tested. It's called continuous testing. So every time, so you don't want to run the code, don't push it there yet. You keep it ready till there, and before the release, say you have a release next day, next week, or 2 weeks from now, you need 2 weeks of testing. Push the code, it automatically gives the code to these testing servers, and you test it for 2 weeks, and then the rest of the things happen, right? So this is the continuous testing part, and that's how the deployment happens to the staging servers. Now about the staging server, you can have it in different ways. You can have it in subdomain, you can have it in VMs. That's all up to you. It depends on the project actually. And the third one, so now we have the feature branch, we have a develop branch. The third one is the master branch. So what happens when you push the code to the master? Master stands for the live ready code. So once you push the server, once you push the code to the master branch, that is automatically sent to the live server, which means there's an automated live release. You want to release something out live, git push origin master. That's it. You sign this live. There's just one single command you need to run, and the entire site goes live. Right? So that's what it is. And that's how automated as well. You can add lots of things to it. See, there are lots of APIs available for different sites. If you have a CDN, you need to push, you need to change the developmental mode, you need to purge the cache. There are APIs available, you can do all that with this. If you have holding pages, you can put that as well. You can virtually do almost anything with respect to all this. It depends on how you configure all this. Right? Suppose everything went bad and you need to revert back. Take the latest, the previous commit of the code, go back there, you push it live, that is sent live automatically, right? We are not discussing the database related stuff in here, that's another topic as such. But yeah, this is how it happens. So the feature branch does all the code quality checks. The developmental branch does all the continuous testing, and the master branch does the continuous deployment, the automated deployment to the live servers. So this is what Jenkins can be used. This is an automated, completely automated process, right? So this is continuous integration. But is that it, or can we use continuous integration? Can we use Jenkins for something else? Yes, answer is yes. See, the way Jenkins works is you can configure Jenkins to work with Maven and shell scripts. When I say shell script, you can actually write almost anything in a shell script. We use that files for shell scripts. So anything if you want to open your browser when you log into the computer, you can do it. If your boss have lots of emails there, you have to get something from there, create a report, strip something out, and create a modified report. But the boss doesn't. You can always write a shell script for it. But your boss doesn't want to use a terminal to do that. He's not a technical person. So you can actually configure Jenkins. So then he will have a very good UI out there. He goes there, click the job, he automatically gets a report generated. That's not continuous integration, but that's something which you can do with Jenkins. Anything you can think of which can be done with the shell script can also be done with the Jenkins. Right? The advantage is you have a better UI, you have a better reporting process available. So we'll see a small example in here. This is about monitoring a cron job. See, as developers, we always have lots of cron jobs to be run. The problem is, you run a cron job, you don't know what happens. Has it run? Has it failed? What has happened? You have no idea. And it's difficult to track that. Why? Because you have a big log file out there. You have a 1 GB log file. You go in there and start searching for it. It's like kind of difficult to track it. And that is where Jenkins can help you a lot. This is called monitoring external job. So what is an external job? External job is something which doesn't run inside the Jenkins. You can run it outside Jenkins also. So how do you do it? The first part is creating a job. As it's simple, you go here, you create a new job, a new job is created. Just like creating any other job. And then you're configuring the server. You have some files over here, these are all the Java files that Jenkins need for that Jenkins to work. You put it there, and then add a Jenkins wrapper script. This is sort of a shell script. Just see it as a shell. You have a shell script out there for Jenkins to run. And then you add this in your code. You open the cron tab, type cron tab minus here, cron tab will show up. You add the cron there, you put the timings there, and this should run. And then when you add it there, just like any other cron job, it will run. But because you're providing the path to Jenkins wrapper, whatever runs there will be updated in Jenkins as well as a new job. So this is a new job, and not as a new job, as a new build. It will be a new build, okay? And you open it, you click here, you see console output. You click here, you see the output. This is an example of something which I have shown you a simple example. But what really happens here is what script you run in the cron. You have a very big script. If you have a big, say for example, you have a script which runs overnight, which fetches an XML data from a third-party server. It parses it, takes all the data and stores it somewhere else, and process something with it. That's a shell script which you have added to the cron. And you need to see the output. That output will be shown here. Entire output. In the morning, when you come, you can have an email saying it has passed or it has failed, or you can have a. If it passes, you might not get an email. Or failure, it sends an email. So, or a ticket updated in your bug tracking system. So it's all possible with Jenkins. You don't actually need to do all this on a server. You can install it in your local machine. So if you have any repetitive task, whatever it is, make a small shell script, add a wrapper, put it here. There's another tutorial which Raja showed earlier where you wrote uptime. Over there, there's a command which runs. You can add the shell script which can run, and that shell will be executed. It's a very simple process. Right? So that's the end of more with Jenkins. If you have any questions, and we will have a small discussion on it. Hope the session was clear enough on what continuous integration is, how you can benefit with this, how you can use this in your projects and make it easier. People has notes that say he is now clear about everything. He says yes.
Just wondered how the word Jenkins was coined.
Jenkins, why is it called Jenkins? I have no idea, but the thing is, Jenkins started off as an open source project in the beginning. And it was a nice good community. It was called Hudson. And later what happened is, there was a copyright problem with Oracle. And yeah. And then there was a problem with the name. And then they were renamed to Jenkins. So what happened is, Hudson and Jenkins are the same stuff, kind of same stuff. The site, if you go to Hudson, you can see almost the same things here. We can see that actually. This is the Jenkins website, and this is the Hudson website. Okay, so they both have almost the same things in here. But what happened is, because Jenkins was more open source, development happened more to the Jenkins side than on the Hudson side. So in a matter of some years, very few plugins were created for Hudson. At the same time, there were a lot of plugins created for Jenkins. Because of it, Jenkins became more popular. But Hudson is still out there, available, and you can always try that if you want. That, I'm not sure why, but we'll search it. Yeah, sure. How do we search it? Why is Jenkins called Jenkins? Now, just a minute. But that's the same thing. As for the naming, this is the answer. What things are of English better in the sense. So the point is, what is the meaning of Hudson? But yes, we will get back to you on this. We will definitely find an answer for it. If you don't get it, we'll surely mail and ask some of the folks in IRC, and then we'll definitely get you the answer as to why is it called Jenkins.
So next time onward, we will have a Q&A quiz session and copy DBG. And we should have some prizes for the answers.
I have a question. It's like, I have been using this. There was a problem when I tried to start my Rocket server. It was from the Windows service and it didn't clearly start from Jenkins. The problem was is that there was a it's like starting Rocket creates another Java job, like Java.exe. So things don't support it. Like, it doesn't creates a new Java job for them. And there was a workaround for that. It had like something like process tree that a parameter was there. So in Linux, they told that we can set a parameter and all that. But I couldn't find out in recent how to start setting the parameter in Windows.
We need to see how the Linux works on it. We can find that. We'll try to get an answer for it. How you can turn on Windows. There should be some way of doing it. Any more questions on CI? Jenkins? How you can implement it? What issues you would have faced? What difficulties are you facing now? Would you benefit from this?
Like to make it following project. I'm sorry.
Good question. Jenkins, even though this is made in Java, this is cross-platform. The point is, we can use this for Android development, we can use this for iPhone development, we can use this for Python, we can use it for Ruby, PHP, any development. So that will not be a problem. We can use this for almost any project of any language. The problem happens when, if you want to run Jenkins, you need to run some commands, configure some stuff, and for that you need plugins. Problems happens when you don't have the plugins available. So it's not really because Jenkins doesn't support it. Jenkins can be used for anything. If you have plugins, it might be easier for you. Otherwise, you might have to handle that part separately. But yes, it's widely used for Android, iPhone. There are lots of tutorials available in fact for them. $1,000 project.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that question.
Yeah, small project.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it will take more time.
For setting up, it depends on how you plan to release it. If it's a one-time process, then not really. If, say for example, your project is for a 3-month or a 2-month project, and then you might not need it in the future, then you might not want to waste a lot of time setting this up. This will really be useful for those projects which are for an extended period of time, which has multiple releases happening frequently. This is more of a taking care of your agile way of doing things. So the question is, would you implement agile on a project? If yes, you should implement Jenkins. It will help. If no, then you might not be benefited by implementing Jenkins. It's not possible.
If you ask the questions, right, there is the online people who are listening, they can answer what the question is.
So can you show some real implementation of DBG?
We did discuss some stuff earlier. We did see the question. This is an example of why you should use Jenkins. See, there are lots of projects out there which are running Jenkins. Apache is one of the largest communities for open source, and they have a lot of projects out there. And this is how they monitor all the jobs. They are all released in a fixed amount of time, and they need to maintain all this. And the problem with them is there are vulnerabilities from all over the world. That is taken care of by means of Git. Git we discussed earlier last time, but how you can have Git implemented for an open source project, create multiple repositories for for them. And once you have that to monitor the job, you can implement Jenkins. And this actually shows you exactly what happens. See, this job, these are all the jobs which are running. Now this job could be a testing job. Say for example, you have a regression test which runs every day, or you have a smoke test which runs every morning before you start your work, or you have code quality stuff. So these is the status of the last run. So this says that there's a failure. There were some issues here. This is all okay. And this is all the health. It's all related stuff. This is the name of the job. This is the last success date, last failure date. So this means that 12 hours before, this Hadoop job ran fine. And this has never had a failure till now. It's all working fine always. And it took 6 minutes to run. If you want to go and click here, you can see the output of what happened when the Hadoop job was run. See? So for example, we talked earlier about a shell script or a cron job. So every time you run it, the output will show up here. So this is what happens when you are running that Hadoop job. All these things will be triggered. It shows up, you're fetching the changes from the origin. See, the way it works is there's an origin out there, it takes the code from there, works on it, and then does something. Right? So the question is, where does all this code get sent to? See, in Git there are two types of repos. There's a bare repo, there's a working repo. You're pushing all the code, all the changes you're pushing goes to the bare repo. But the thing is, you cannot work from the bare repo. Bare repo is only for storing the details. So you need to check out the code from there. Check out the specification. You need to clone the code, or you put the code from there to another location, and that's where the work happens. That happens inside the Jenkins page. It's called Linux. It's in bar like Jenkins. There's a folder there. Inside it, there's a workspace. That is where the entire. See, the way Eclipse works, we have a workspace waiting for Eclipse, and that's where everything is stored. The very same way, Jenkins has a workspace, and that is where all this thing happens. See, it takes the code, runs the things. You can have this for merging as well. In continuous integration, they usually use it for merging also. Every time we always say that before you push the code, you need to put it, so that there are changes other developers have done on it, and that needs to come in and you need to merge it. You can have that done by means of Jenkins. You can do push, and as opposed to the hook, you can call the merging there, and you can update the changes by means of a ticket or cover. Or you can even come and see here what has happened is the merge config works there, what needs to be changed, what needs to be updated. That can also be done. The whole point is there's no one right way of doing things. Whatever fits to our project, that is the best way of doing it. So in your project, you can actually have everything has an advantage and a disadvantage as well. So you can configure that in that way. So yes, so this shows all those output of what's happening here. And towards the end, it'll tell you no events were delivered and whether it was a success or a failure. The advantage of having Jenkins is you can always have this there to track what happened in the previous runs. It's always available for you. You don't have to go back and start deleting the logs to get the details of what went wrong and where. It's all available here. So yes. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is one of the biggest projects, and you can see how they use Jenkins. It's all used in big companies, including NASA and Facebook. Everywhere. LinkedIn. There are some companies out there. DBG. Yes, and yes, we do. And again, about there's one more thing which you wanted to tell about. We talked about deployments earlier. So every time you push your code to the master, the remote master, it doesn't automatically deploy it. So again, the question comes: how do you deploy it there? There are different ways of deployment. As we talked earlier, there's an MTP where you are actually taking the code and putting it there. So there's another option. There's another. If you're working on Git, one of the easiest option is it's easy, but it's kind of initially you might want to write some scripts configure it though. It's called Git FTP. So we implemented it here for one of the projects as a workaround for some time. So what it does now, your normal FTP, what it does is every file goes there to the server, but that creates a lot of bandwidth usage. You don't want that to happen. So what this does is this will see the commit, sort of intelligent. It will see what the previous commit was, previous push was. It will take the commit ID and create a list of files. Only those files will be pushed to the server again. So one click deployment solution. You're not using Jenkins, like one shelter we can use it. We can also configure Jenkins to do that. Another way is you can have you can just give it to push it there, but the problem is you have a file for that this one. The best way to do things is to use rsync. Are you aware of a protocol called rsync? Like some of them are aware. Rsync is one of the best ways of automating your libraries, and that's what most of the companies does. The advantage with rsync is it's called as a differential transfer. So whatever changes are there, only those changes will go live. Network usage is much less, and you can save a lot of time. It's very fast also. So rsync is one of the best ways. So if you are trying to implement automated deployments, rsync is one of the best solutions for it. Better than FTP, better than FTP, better than all the other solutions. And that also works well with Jenkins. So yes, so that's pretty much it.
So, don't normally have a lot of questions, so I will handle the mic now.
Last year,
The advantage that the benefit Don can get from using Jenkins is if you go check the list of plugins with Jenkins, there's a emulator for Android, there's a build tools for Android, all those are all available there. So in one click, you can have all those things. You go to list of plugins for Jenkins, and then for Android development, there's a separate. You see, there's a one for iOS development. There are lots of plugins for .NET, for Android, for Ruby. There are different options out there. You check Android, there's a lot of options for Android. So you might want to check them, how you can implement it in your project. There's also a lot of wiki and tutorials also available. In fact, Jenkins itself has written a nice tutorial on how to use this tool for Android development. That's the last wiki update of Jenkins. So that will help you a lot in your Android development. Okay. Yeah.
So I just want to picture that whether you are able to take something out of this event or it is not like everyone going today evening and tomorrow onwards you are implementing Jenkins in your project, but it is to be aware that there is something called Jenkins and so this is just to be aware that there is something called Jenkins and if you have any questions, then just make a try. Just try it, and if there is any questions, then you can keep it posted on Technologies community, and Sridhar will be available to respond to you. And you can also get his phone number and contact him directly whenever you fall in trouble. Okay. And also this coffee DBG, that we also have a session just like this. We are placing something on your development, that is in your project, that is you can openly ask a question and somebody will be answering you. So is there something that anyone of you want to share? Some trouble or some challenges that you are facing in your current project and want to look for the solution? No? Only challenges. This session is not composing. Okay. Symphony? Nitin does? Come on. Is the symphony? Okay, that was the question. So, you don't know the answer. Okay. So, Manju, do you want to explain your product? There are one. So he was also part of last copy DBG as well as a part of Infinity Hours, and he started a new product right now, and it's Get Apps, right? And did you launch? Oh, you are going to launch. Next week he is launching his product. So it is just like that you can plan for something for yourself. You can do different things. You can. So there is no other questions. Right.
ഒരു സംശയമില്ലാത്ത രീതിയിൽ
So now it's time for socializing that you can talk with each other. If there's any other questions, you can talk directly and say that you want, do not want, not talk openly. Because you can talk with them individually and also with them. They will be helping you. Thank you. Thanks for coming.